Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Caravan of Garbage, where we're looking at Michael Kryton movies.
We're tanking that algorithm.
It's been going so well, let me just say.
Absolutely. Okay, so what do you want here? What do
I
want? You're saying Congo did quite well, and you're happy about that?
No.
Yeah, that's what I
We're
thought.
trying to tank the algorithm.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Get out of here.
Right? Stop watching this. Leave a like. No, wait. Downvote? Doesn't matter. Don't touch anything.
The best thing to do is not touch anything.
That's correct, yes.
And get out of here.
Yeah. Especially if you're engaged in some sort of science experiment gone wrong, which is the subject of this film.
Oh my God, Mason, please leave a like,
Don't touch anything.
Don't touch anything. For Timeline 2003.
I'd never seen this one.
No, me neither. So what's interesting about this is Michael Kryton took the unusual step of offering the movie rights for free as long as the movie entered production immediately. He also had a back-end deal.
Don't plan anything. Just wing it. I insist. You can have this for nothing.
Do it live.
Just wing the movie. I want to see what happens.
I don't care.
Yeah.
But he does care. We'll talk about it more at the end.
I'm rich and tall. I don't care what happens.
Rich and tall and dead. So this is directed by the great Dick Donner.
That's correct.
Who people would know for The Omen, Superman the movie, Superman 2 sort of, and then he finished it later. Lethal Weapons, The Goonies. This is dreadful though.
I mean, what I think the pattern that's been established, because last week it was Barry Levinson who directed Sphere, and then prior to that directed Congo,
Frank Marshall. Yeah.
What seems to be happening here is that the producers are going, okay, well, what you do is you pair up a Michael Kryton property with an established director, and then it's just box office and critical
Gravy.
gold. But what they forgot was Jurassic Park had Michael Kryton property, it had established director, and it had dinosaurs, which are cool.
They are cool.
But spheres aren't cool.
No.
Congos aren't cool. Timelines aren't cool.
Mirrored time machine rooms aren't very cool.
They're not cool at all. Ethan Embry's cool.
Ethan Embry is cool with his little soul patch and his glasses.
That's right.
Running around.
But that's maybe not enough to make a good film.
No.
You need a bunch of stars of the future who aren't stars yet. You need Paul Walker.
Yep.
You need Jerry Butler, the narrowest his head's ever been. Clearly he got fame and he got money and he got that head-widening surgery they all get in Hollywood. You know the surgery.
No, he blew
You've
it.
had the surgery.
I have not.
Yes, you have. Here's the photo. Look how wide his head is.
I came out of the birth canal like this.
Wow.
And it was a disaster for everyone.
Explains a lot.
Yeah, you're right. Michael Sheen's in this.
Oh, he's so young and unrecognizable.
The Merovingian is in this.
The Merovingian from the Matrix sequels is in this. Who's French, really French, I think.
He's French, really French.
Really French for reals.
Yeah.
But in this one, of course, a vague corporation that sort of...
Oh, yeah. It's Michael Kryton adaptations that people don't know.
So we have to explain the plot.
Yeah.
So in this one, this corporation that is sometimes evil and sometimes benevolent is like...
Sometimes they'll push a guy over and he'll go, I hit my head.
Yeah.
But then he's fine.
That's right. Then they're sorry.
Yeah.
David Thewlis is in this also.
David Thewlis.
He's Ares in Wonder Woman. And probably a bunch of sad British movies also.
Yeah, and he's Harry Potter's fucking werewolf dad or whatever.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Vague memories of that. Anyway, this corporation wanted to invent teleportation, but they accidentally invented time travel. But it's a very specific form of time travel. They opened a stable wormhole that only goes to a specific day in a specific place.
13-something.
1357,
Yeah.
right? But then they accidentally lose Billy Connolly in the wormhole.
Oh, no.
I mean, sorry, a character played by Billy Connolly. They didn't lose the stand-up comedian Billy Connolly, and he's in 1357 doing his bit about incontinence pants or whatever. You know what I mean? But he's a archaeologist. He learns about this and he's intrigued by it. And
he's like, how do they know so much about this castle, etc.?
Yeah. But then he gets lost in the thing. So his son,
Paul Walker.
Not his actual son, the actor Paul Walker playing his son. And
he goes, what's going on here?
Yeah. Because he's like...
He's a cool Californian dude.
He's a cool Californian dude, and his dad wants him to be an archaeologist as well, but he's like, I'm too busy surfing.
Yeah. I hate the past.
Right? I only like the future where there's surfing.
And chicks.
Yeah. All right, I'll go back in time if there's surfing. If I can use my surfing skills. He doesn't. Anyway, he's got a team, all his friends. He's in love with the young Frances O'Connor. She's the real archaeologist here, right? She's the heir to the Billy Connolly archaeology whole situation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and she's not into him at all.
No. And he's like, I love you and I hate the past. Why can't you give up your job and love me, Paul Walker?
Right?
Great question.
Great character. But anyway, they set up a team to go back in time.
Also, it's not really a Paul Walker film.
No, if you go to watch this now, he will be on the poster.
Yeah. He'll probably be in the thumbnail.
But it's an ensemble, really.
Yeah.
No one's really the star. No one wanted to agree to be the star of this.
No, it seems that way, yeah.
But anyway, so the corporation puts together a team.
Yep.
So it's Paul Walker and Francis O'Connor and Jerry Butler. And Neil McDonough's in there.
Neil McDonough's there.
And he's like the head of security, and he brings two like ex-Marine guys or whatever, right?
And a hand grenade.
Well, I was gonna say, so the rule is, and this is where it all bloody kicks off. They're like, this will be a simple case. We'll all go back in time. We'll put on our medieval clothes. We'll go back in time, and then we'll find Billy Connolly, and then we'll rescue Billy Connolly, and we've all got these little Saint Christopher medal things, and if you press it, then we'll know to bring you back to the present.
But don't stand near anybody or lose it, but you can lose it
Because
if
we
there's
only
one.
Need, if we only need one, you can do it by yourself, but also if the plot requires that there's only one left, you can all use it.
Yep.
But you need 42 feet of space to do it or something.
Yep.
Can't be anything around you like trees or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And it's got a little timer on it, and you've got 6 hours, and then it will stop working.
Yeah, but somebody took a bomb.
Well, I was going to say, but James, you're so excited to talk about it.
I'm so excited.
But the rule is, of course, that they can't bring anything back, any modern equipment through time, because that would destroy.
Even though they're all speaking languages that didn't really exist at this time, whatever.
Oh well, James, I looked into it, James.
We all looked into it.
Middle English was prevalent. They could probably understand.
And they didn't speak French either.
That's
the French didn't speak this version of French.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh.
Movies are bad.
They are. No, not this one. But anyway, so one of the ex-military guys is like, well, he said don't bring any modern equipment or weapons back in time. But what if I brought back one hand grenade? Like, you're not going to bring back a handgun?
A cool knife.
A cool knife. One of those knives with a spring?
Yeah,
and
it's pretty
and it
nice.
shoots out the knife?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like, you're not going to bring a compact submachine gun that you can use to mow down a bunch of people and it's really accurate and convenient.
Even a laser pointer, people will be like, what the fuck is this?
A single firework? You could be the king of this whole universe. But he's like, you know what I'll do is I'll bring back one thing that could potentially be bad news for everybody. As long as the entire French and English armies cluster together, I can probably kill them all with this one hand grenade.
Maybe.
But obviously it's a plot device.
Yeah.
Because that guy gets shot with a bunch of arrows and he activates his little metal thing to go back to the present.
Yeah.
But he's pulled the pin on his hand grenade and then it blows up the time machine.
Blows up the mirror machine.
In the present day,
Yeah.
so all the people are stuck back
Yeah.
in the past playing some games that suck ass.
Yes.
Medieval games.
Yeah.
Like chess and so forth.
Etc.
And Pitfall. And then in the present day, the remaining scientists, they have to attempt to rebuild the time machine.
Just putting some mirrors up.
Put some more mirrors up. Go to Mirrors Galore and get some more mirrors and put them up before the 6 hours elapses, because then they can activate the thing. But if they don't build the mirrors in time,
Yep.
then they won't be able to come back to the present. And the most fascinating thing to me there is that anybody in that corporation is like, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this to save these small number of people. Like, you'd think they'd just be like, let's write it off.
Yeah, who
actually.
cares?
Yeah, that's right. Send $50,000 to each member of their family. It's
Yeah, yeah.
fine.
Or
so
don't.
they fell off a gantry or something.
Yeah, exactly. Also, they would know living in the present these guys didn't affect much.
Yeah.
We didn't get Marty McFly out of here or whatever.
That's true. We're not. Yeah. Check the Marty McFly meter. Still at 0.
The thing about time travel in this, there's no real warning of don't mess with anything. You can run around and do whatever. You can kill whoever. It's fine. Gerard Butler's like, great. I've been practicing swords and bow and arrows. This is amazing for me. I mean, he has a discussion at the start with Paul Walker where he's like, the past was better. There's less gadgets and motorbikes and men had honor. I don't know, man. It's a grubby time.
It's awful.
Yeah.
But there's also a moment they go back in time and they're like, okay, they get separated and, there's some of them get locked up and they're all,
Yeah.
and then they're no closer to finding stand-up comedian Billy Connolly, improvising his way out of a jam or whatever. then they all make their way together and they're like, this isn't going to be difficult. We got 650 years of history and modern technology on these guys and skills. What are they? They're not going to see this coming. And then they just use nothing.
No, exactly.
They're like, what if we climbed out of a roof? What if we climbed out of a hole in a roof? They'd never see that
Twice.
coming. I reckon they would see that coming, actually. I reckon that'd be a fairly common thing that would happen in medieval times.
What if 3 guys beat up 1 guy?
Right?
What if we trip a guy on the stairs?
What if I shoot a guy with a bow and arrow? Like, yeah, no, it's just there's no. I mean, that would be the I don't know if the book's different. Did you read
Apparently
the
the book is... Look, I know I said I would, and I definitely did, but I don't want to talk about it.
But you will.
No, I did.
In a subsequent video.
I did read it, but I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, great. You'd think you'd give the characters skills,
Yeah.
modern skills, and then in the past you'd be like, what if I made a laser or whatever? What if I used a bunch of lenses and I made a laser? That would get him or whatever.
Billy Connolly does make a magical fire for the enemy.
Which is handy, something an archaeologist could easily do.
Oh, definitely. They could go back and be like, wait, don't kill me. I know who won Best Kiss at the 2003 MTV Movie Awards.
That's right.
And they'd be like, oh, really?
It was Paul Walker and Francis O'Connor when Francis O'Connor's character was clearly not into it. Yeah, like they don't even... Because, there's a bunch of famous time travel story, Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, where he's like... I think that's the one where he's like... I'm a great wizard, and there's gonna be I'm gonna blot out the sun or whatever, and then because it just happens, there's a eclipse, and they're like, he's a true sorcerer or whatever.
I'm a great wizard.
You're not gonna use any of your knowledge of the past.
No, tripping and running around.
Yeah, tripping and running around, and again, 3 guys beating up 1 guy. That was maybe the best moment. Let's see it again.
Nobody'd seen 3 guys beat up 1 guy. They didn't know you could do that.
That's right.
Because it's not cool.
It wasn't cool. Yeah.
I love that Paul Walker's character in this is the least 1400s guy on Earth to send back. I just think that's so funny. And also, I love that in the modern day, this is just unrelated, but there's an archaeology horn that goes off and they all rush to do archaeology down that pit.
Yeah, sure.
And there's a real, hurry to get into this room that's hasn't been touched for 600 years. There's no snakes in here, man. This isn't Indiana Jones. What's going on here? Also, it's not just a time machine, it's a time and space machine, right? I guess.
But it's only to one specific time.
But it only goes to one. It's a wormhole machine, I guess. And also, I don't like the way, some mirrors close and then there's a wind machine and they hold hands.
You're mad at the whole aesthetic.
Yeah, they scream timeline and they
don't scream timeline.
They all scream timeline, I think you'll find.
Okay.
I don't know, man.
The last third is just like a big medieval battle at night. And it's just trebuchets and catapults flinging stuff.
And night arrows.
There are some night arrows.
Get the night arrows,
Get
they
the
say.
night arrows. Which are arrows you can't see at night.
Yeah, do you mean regular arrows?
I think they meant regular arrows that you fire at night.
Okay, there is a video by the History Buffs on their YouTube channel that's all about this, and it's just a guy being like, everything about this movie is stupid and wrong.
Well, if you're here to support us tanking the algorithm, you'll immediately click off this video and go to that video.
We would appreciate it, yeah. But I even think that that's so important that you preserve history, etc. And Billy Connolly's just like, I'll change the course of this battle. I don't give a shit. That woman's alive who was supposed to die. None of it matters. None of it means anything. It's kind of like this is a fixed point in time that you can't change, except you can.
Yeah, see, well, that's interesting, because as I was watching the movie...
what are the consequences for any of this?
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think there aren't any consequences, because when I was watching this movie, I'm like, it's going to be one of those movies where they were destined to go back in time.
Yeah, but it's not.
But some of it is, though, because Jerry Butler... Because at the start of the movie, they find in the present day, they find a sarcophagus of a man with 1 ear. And
got 1 ear.
And he's holding the remains of his girlfriend.
And he was like, men and women didn't hold each other back then.
Yeah, that sounds very modern. But then it turns out, later in the movie, Jerry Butler gets his ear cut off.
Sort of.
And then he gets with that woman who's supposed to be dead.
Yeah.
And then that turns out that he was the man in the sarcophagus. So I was like, well, okay, I guess this is just going to be they were destined to go back in time or whatever. But some of that, you're right, some of that doesn't apply. But the original story
was that woman was hung and then the castle was stormed.
Turns out Jerry Butler was hung.
That's what he's telling everyone. You got that white dick surgery that everyone in Hollywood's getting.
That's exactly right. But you went the other way. You went with the narrowing surgery.
Mate, you got to.
That's right.
You just got to. I think what happened there was he got his ear cut off and he went, oh, that was me. I was the great love, etc. And then he made that happen.
You know what would be funny?
That was 2 different people. Or she survived and had another great love.
Yeah, I think it'd be really funny if he's like, I'm in love with this woman and I'm destined to be the one-eared man, so I'm going to stay in the past away from all my friends and all the modern conveniences or whatever. And then he stays in the past when the rest of them go back to the present. And then 2 weeks later, she meets another one-eared guy. She's like, I actually like this guy a lot more. He's like, God damn it.
What if I cut off my other ear?
And then he dies in a ditch.
He dies in a ditch, as everybody did. God damn. Do you know what it's time for, though?
What's the time for?
It's time for Time Trivia. You know it.
I do.
This is the timeline trivia section of the show.
Oh, yes.
I've only got 2, but I got some other news I want to talk about.
You've got other news.
Modern news.
Modern news.
Yeah,
This
okay.
is just going to be modern news.
Yes, modern news from here on
Wow.
out, yeah.
Modern local news. It's
That's
going to
right.
be about your local councilman.
So David Lewis, he met his partner Anna Friel during production of this movie.
She's lady. What's her name?
Yeah, etc. Yeah. And they were together for almost a decade, so that's cool.
right.
And Pierce Brosnan turned down the role of Andre Marek
That's
for
Jerry
Jerry
Butler.
Butler. And Jerry Butler was maybe nearly Bond for a second.
Oh, yeah, that's
or
true.
he was up for it. Anyways, on a budget of $80 million, this made 43.9.
Oh, that's less.
Critically maligned. One of Dick Donner's least popular movies. The last movie he did was just after this was 16 Blocks, which is a Bruce Willis action movie.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
It's
in that.
pretty good.
Yeah.
So at least he didn't go out on this.
That's correct, yes.
You know?
Yeah.
That feels like a retirement Die Hard movie, like the real kind of final Die Hard. I feel.
Yeah, kind
Other
of,
people
yeah.
say that as well. But we should have done this every week, Mason. It's too late now, obviously. But what did Michael Crichton think of this movie?
Oh, yeah.
He hated it.
Interesting.
And apparently, he refused to license any more of his movies based on his novels. Well, maybe he shouldn't have said, hey, make this as quickly as you can.
For free.
Yeah.
I don't care about results unless they're bad results.
This is actually the last Michael Crichton movie adaptation.
Whoa.
If you don't count the Jurassic World movies, because
I don't.
Yeah, you don't have to. There has been TV adaptations. There was obviously Westworld again. The Andromeda Strain happened.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah, the Andromeda Strain happened.
It's just a guy telling the story of the Andromeda Strain
Yeah.
on a park bench.
And the current agreement is that any films based on Crichton's work must go through his widow, Sherry Crichton. So that's kind of where we're
Okay.
at. There are a number of Crichton things in the works that haven't quite materialized as of yet. What I think is interesting about Michael Crichton, if we're bringing this to conclusion, and maybe fuck it, maybe we'll do the 13th Warrior
Maybe
next
we'll do
week.
the 13th Warrior. That's also. Is that also?
It is, yes.
It is, but is that also like a renowned
massive
director?
bomb, yes.
Is that? I think that one. Some people have said that's better than.
It's actually apparently all right from what I've heard.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. And that was directed by.
Oh, John McTiernan did that
John
one.
McTiernan. Yeah.
Damn, Die Hard's John McTiernan.
Die Hard's John McTiernan.
All right, let us know below if you want us to do this, if you're still here. I think he's got a really interesting legacy because he was a champion of science and he dabbled in like video game development and books and he directed movies and all of that and he warned like humanity of the dangers of meddling in technology and things going too far.
Oh, maybe you should have warned us a bit harder, Michael Crichton.
Well, he was also a bit of a climate change denier. He
Oh,
was a friend of
no!
like the Bush administration and who knows, maybe if he had have lived that would have all turned around and he would have been like, hey.
Or it could have gotten worse.
Or it could have
People are
gotten
always
worse.
like, well, what if John Lennon was still alive? Maybe he would be right. Yeah, but maybe he'd be the kind of guy who's saying everything's too woke now. You know what I mean? Who's to say? We don't know.
It's probably that one, though. Look, we could talk about the legacy of Michael Crichton and who he was as a man. But the only thing I really want to talk about is that time he used the small penis rule in his writing.
What does that mean?
Are you familiar with this? So the small penis rule is an informal strategy used by authors to evade libel lawsuits.
Huh.
So in 2006, there was a dispute between Michael Crowley and Michael Crichton. And Crowley alleged that after he wrote an unflattering review of Crichton's novel State of Fear, Crichton included a character called Mick Crowley in the novel Next.
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
So that fictional character is described as having a small penis, if I had to guess.
A child rapist with a small penis, yes.
So then the critic would never ever claim
Yeah.
that this character was based on him. That would be him admitting that he
Yeah.
has a small penis. I get it.
Exactly. But it also wouldn't work, apparently, according to Professor Michael Conklin. He wasn't the only one who's used this. A couple of
Right.
people have. Because by saying somebody has a small penis, you're also defaming them. So they don't have to be like...
Not us.
You don't have to come out and say, I'm not a child rapist, but then they're not going to be like, well, but prove you have a regular-sized penis.
Right.
Like, it's not a... It's just...
Yeah.
It's more of a dig than anything. It's not a real legal loophole.
There's a somewhat similar but
You're
different...
talking about the Tom Cruise...
I'm talking about, in American Psycho, the original novel by Bret Easton Ellis.
Yeah.
Patrick Bateman, who's a kind of, he's the titular American Psycho.
Sure.
I think Bret Easton Ellis was concerned that his description of him would remind people of Tom Cruise, and that would lead to some legal action. So in the book, Patrick Bateman meets Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise has an apartment in his apartment building.
Yeah.
So what's going on there?
I don't know. What was his penis like?
It's impossible to say. I mean, he's in Hollywood, so you got to do
He
it.
got the winding.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyways, if you do want to see these videos early, whatever that ends up being, let us know below. You can actually head over to bigsandwich.co, where in addition to early videos, we do video game let's plays, we do bonus podcasts, we do movie commentaries. Sometimes we talk about the movie timeline.
We've done that.
Yeah, that's now.
That's now.
Yeah.
In our timeline.
That's right. We also have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. That comes out there every Sunday if you are interested, ad-free. Or it's got its own YouTube channel. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple. On regular platforms.
It's on all sorts of regular
We
platforms.
talk the movie news and the new and the modern news. The
Talk all
news.
sorts of... Did we cover the modern news just then? You said we were going to.
The penis thing that's modern.
That's modern news.
Yeah,
Alright,
yeah. So that's good, isn't it?
That is good.
This is a big penis week.
It was penis heavy, wasn't it? Or penis light, depending on whether you've had the surgery or not, I guess. And you got to.
You gotta get it.
You got to look streamlined, you know?
And thanks to Ben and Lawrence for the edit.
Thank you, Ben and Lawrence.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Probably 13th Warrior, whatever we said.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
I don't know, man. It's your algorithm.
I don't know.